How's it going, everybody? Josh with Styes Cards here for a pretty exciting live deck profile right now. I'm here with a good friend of mine. Just finished a pretty big event. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. Janco Gorgievski. I just got third place at the remote YCS that was supposed to happen in Pasadena. And yeah, just here to show off what we were able to come up with.
Yeah, was this your first time playing in a remote duel event?
Second time.
Second?
Yeah,
How did
yeah, I
it?
played the one that happened in July. I played Dry Drum.
Gotcha. How was your experience with this one?
Uh, it was not the most positive, but I was happy to be able to play in it for sure.
For
And
sure.
got to basically show off everything I'd been practicing for. So still
That's all
happy
that
with
really
it.
cound, yeah. And
Yeah.
so you got third. How did the B Trooper match go? Because they didn't stream that one, but everything else they kind of streamed. Oh, we're already looking
Um.
at the
It,
deck.
oh yeah. It was basically it was a 2-0. They weren't able to break the bird board game one, and then game two. I ended up breaking his board. So
Gotcha.
um. Yeah. I
Uh,
had Dark Ruler for his DPE and other negate card, and yeah.
sure. And then before we do look at the deck, do you want to give any shout outs? Anybody?
Yeah, I definitely want to shout out Dirk Wagner, Trixie Mattel, and Katya. Definitely gave me the positivity that I needed for this event. So, yeah.
For sure. Well, let's look at the deck then. Pretty excited.
All right. So we had three Warbler, three Barrel Canary, one Sapphire Swallow. Some people played two of this, but I only needed it one time throughout the whole event. And it's one of the ones that you don't really want to draw. You want to be able to search it. Um, and we do play tons of ways to search it that are accessible in the extra deck and a couple of cards in the main deck. Um, and then three Cobalt Sparrow and two Wagtail for the cards that search. Then for the Tri Brigades, triple Fractal, triple Nerval, one Karis, and one Kit. That is pretty standard. Um, yeah. And then for basically what set our deck apart from everybody else's, um, is the Barrier Statue and Tri Brigade Oath. A lot of people cut out Oath from their decks because they just didn't think that people were playing Dark Ruler or Droplets. But the only times you really lose with the bird deck if you go first and open up your standard combo is if they do break the board um, with like a droplet or a dark ruler. So whereas other people are playing DD Crow, we chose to play Oath as our brick. There's tons of ways, even if you draw it, there's tons of ways to combo. There's tons of ways to combo through hand traps if you open up the Warbler and the Brown. So it doesn't really it's not really a bad card at all. It just ensures your games, and if you sacrifice a little bit of consistency for power, it's worth it. And then the reason why we chose to play Barrier Statue over Apex Avian, like everybody else, was one of the most powerful decks right now. It's definitely Tiny Sword Soul, and it has the highest representation. We figured that if we were able to put up a Barrier Statue and then protect it with double Dragon Lords or another card in our extra deck, which we'll show later, it was usually game over for Tiny after you broke their board and resolved one Tri Brigade. So that's those. And then moving on to the spells, three Pot of Prosperity in a combo deck that requires two cards to have a full play. It's definitely good to be able to have a Pot of Duality where you can still special summon. Not every card in your extra deck is needed, but you have to be smart with your banishes, so it's definitely not an easy card to utilize, but once you do get it down, it's extremely powerful and phenomenal in the deck, so I wouldn't change anything about that. Three Bird Call, uh, phenomenal card.
Yeah.
And then for one of the spices of the deck, we play Triple War Arf Thou. The card just is a reinforcement to the army. If they try to hand trap you at any point, this will get you another extender, and then you can search the blue, the Sapphire Swallow, and still get the the Wagtail out of your hand or this Cobalt Sparrow, you can search a Nerval and then start extending with Nerval that way and Warbler into Recital Starlings. It was a very, very good card. And then for the 1-ofs, Tenki, 1-for-1, Foolish. And then finally for the going second cards, 3 Droplets and 3 Dark Ruler. The cards are very, very good, and we didn't play any hand traps. I don't want to play any cards that trade 1-for-1. I want to play cards where I just put down Dark Ruler and negate 4 of their cards instead, and then just wipe their board with a Zeus and recombo. So that was the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck, 1 Blossom, 1 Omen, 1 Simorgh, 1 Double Dragon Lords, 1 Almirage, and 1 Harpy Conductor. A lot of people didn't play Harpy Conductor, but I think it's really important. There are a lot of times where if you open up like a regular Tribrigade and you need to use Bird Call and you get trolled, the only way that you can end on Simorgh Double Dragon Lords is through using Conductor with your 2 Lyrilusc monsters, then banishing 2 for this. And then if we can go into Simorgh with Barrier Statue, that usually auto-wins you the game against like Tenyi and a lot of the rogue decks. So that is why we played the Conductor.
Gotcha.
Or then 2 Recital Starling, 1 Ensembled Robin, Utopic Draco Future, and just regular Future. And then the Zeus package, 1 Nightingale, Zeus and Downerd. And then the final extra deck spice, number 39. Utopia Roots, he is here, and he is here to stay. Card was phenomenal, overperformed. Anytime you deal with a 10U board, if you deal with a 10U board and then resolve one of the Tri-Brigades and banish like 4 cards, you can go into the Omen. Here. You can go into Omen and then search for make Fairjet, and then the Omen will grab one of your small birds, let's say Cobalt, special summon it, search yourself a Feral Canary, I'm sorry. And then these 2 make your copy of Simorgh, and then you summon Barrel Canary to bring back usually you only have 1 Lyrilusc in your grave anyways, to make roots so they can't destroy your barrier statue by battle, and then you just have a Simorgh that auto resolves, and then you win the game. A lot of people comment that like Forbidden Drop, this card loses to like Droplets, Imperm, Chalice, but this card is actually like a going second card for us. We break boards and then make this. We don't make this first. And when you break the boards, they already have their chalices set, their droplets were set, their imperms were set. So then they're just fighting with monsters against Barrier Statue and Utopia Roots. So that is why this card was phenomenal, overperformed, and I would always play it again if I could. And then for the side deck, the last thing, 1 Apex Avian for the mirror match, and Sky Striker is definitely better than Barrier Statue. So Barrier Statue is still not the worst in the mirror match. If you make it next to an ensembled Robin can just keep bouncing their XYZs, and then the Barrier Statue can prevent them from going into Zeus, but still Apex is a little bit better, so we did choose to side it. And against any trap decks as well. Apex is very good. Harpy's Feather Duster, Triple Mystic Mine in the mirror match. If you get Harpy's Featherstorm, this is usually the only thing that will keep you alive, so it is a great card. And if you can force out the Apex and then play it, it buys you time till you can break their board and establish your own. And then against Tenyi and Sword Soul, it's the only thing that can spare you. When they Protoss you, you just play it to buy time. So, yeah. Triple Twin Twister card is just good for trap decks. and then the Dogmatica Invoke deck to get rid of um, the Shadal Schism when they activate it in Tikaboos. And then for the trap cards, one red reboot, phenomenal against Sword Soul and the Dogmatica deck. And then the last cards are three Harpy's Feather Storm, and something we realized was if you do get Dark Ruler and you weren't able to set up Oath, this is usually the best card to have because they still can't play. And then we were trying to find out, well, what's another floodgate we could play since there's only three Featherstorms. And then we realized there's actually six.
Yeah.
So we play
Having
Trap
six
Trick
copies of the
together.
best trap card, yeah.
Yeah, so going first, we always have six cards to side out, just the three droplets and the three rulers. So we just side these out and put in these six, and then that's almost against any matchup, really. Um, and then going second, we obviously don't put these in, other than against Striker, because Striker can't really beat you down really quickly, and you can use the Feather Storms later on.
For sure, for
So
sure.
yeah,
Thank
that
you so much
was
for having me do this video for you. It was so much fun. You had so many people rooting you on, watching the live streams. I was one of those people just constantly refreshing the chat, getting the little updates one by one on what was going on. But I'm so happy with the results. It was so cool. Any
yeah.
last thoughts you had?
No, I just want to thank you guys all of the people from back home in Michigan for really rooting me on, gassing me up, and again, like Dirk for really working with me on this one to actually make this deck work. And it really felt like we were leagues ahead of other people playing the deck. So yeah, it
That's
felt great.
awesome. Well, thank you again, and I can't express how cool it was to see how well you did. So hopefully everybody enjoyed watching, and have a good one, guys.